Master interview and B-roll. This seems to be the classic combo when it comes to making documentaries, especially when you only have a few hours to shoot with your subject. But this doesn't always translate into the best edits, especially if you're jamming in unmotivated or repetitive and random B-roll. In this video, I'm going to look at a simple technique that I like to use in my short documentary pieces, and it involves combining a master interview with not just B-roll, but something I like to call a show and tell or a walk and talk. Now, maybe this sounds a bit obvious, but I see so much work out there where people just stick to the interview B-roll formula, and I think this technique can really add more depth to your film, and it also takes the viewer out of the artifice of the perfectly lit and composed interview and into the real world of your subjects. It usually involves shooting handheld and following your subject as they take you somewhere and show you something. Maybe, they're showing you photos from the past, or a place where something happened, or artworks they're making, or giving you a tour around their studio or home. And I think 9 times out of 10, if the person was nervous or slightly stilted during the interview, they'll start to open up a bit when they're moving around or they have something in their hands. I think people generally become less self-conscious when they're engaged in these sorts of activities. But it's just another layer of documentation that you can add into your films, and can be a great way of capturing unexpected or candid moments that might not arise during the interview process.
It's great having a blue sky today.
Yeah. So, whilst I'm filming these moments, I'm often prompting with questions, maybe even repeating questions I asked during the interview, but all the time the person is actually showing me something as well as talking about it. They're playing a more active role in the storytelling process, and while you're filming this stuff, I think it's really important to note that you really want to be focusing on the people. You want to see their reactions or their body language. So if they're showing you something like a photograph, you focus on the person first, and then you go back and repeat the close-ups of the objects if you need them.
So there's different pictures of Jason and I and Thomas, and this was in February, so Thomas was about 6 weeks old here.
In this scene, I'm following Charlie as she shows me photos of her partner who tragically passed away, and it's a really intimate moment, and I stay with her to capture her emotion. She gets lost in the memories. Now obviously we cover this in the interview, but there's something about this moment that's a lot more real and a lot more immediate in the way that she's responding in real time to these photographs.
Really special pictures and really special memories, special time.
After shooting this, I then went back and I got cut-in shots of the photos that she was showing me so the audience could see what she was looking at.
It's very rewarding to pick these up and just, in a way, have a conversation through touch with the maker.
In this example, with the artist Antony Gormley, and he's looking at clay models he produced with members of the public. And there's some really great moments as he holds them in his hands and recalls memories from the past. In each case, I could have just covered this in an interview and cut in B-roll, but adding these scenes is a much more immediate and powerful way of communicating this information. In practice, if I had 4 hours to film with someone, this is probably what my schedule might look like. I tried to get in there an hour early to set up, then I would allow around 45 to 60 minutes for the interview, give myself around 15 minutes to rig into a handheld setup, and this would also allow your interviewee to nip to the toilet or check emails or grab a snack. And then I would probably spend 45 minutes to 60 minutes doing a walk and talk or a show and tell, and then I would follow that with another hour of shooting B-roll scenes and establishing shots and anything else I needed to capture. And obviously you can adjust the schedule to whatever time constraints you have. I've made this work with only 2 hours, reducing the interview time and reducing the amount of time I use for B-roll and doing the show and tell. Generally I would try and leave equal time between the show and tell and the B-roll, just to make sure I've got a full range of coverage and shots that I can use in the edit.
Initially I started going, can I have a book talk without leaving the page? It got refined in a different way. But again, it was still trying to get the words from a dictionary to be introduced to each other.
Now when I get to the edit, it's like having an extra interview to cut between. It kind of helps break up that long master interview. So you're not just relying on that for your storytelling. It reduces the need for mindless B-roll or just finding random shots to fill edits of your master interview, and it generally brings the viewer further into the subject's world. And I think this is a setup that works really well when you're only shooting with one camera, so if you are limited to a single shot interview, having this extra show and tell material to cut between really helps you in the edit. Believe it or not, this is actually something I learned years ago when I was making radio. When I was making a piece from a single interview, I'd capture a clean interview and then often get them to give me a tour or take them somewhere else to record them on location, and that way I had something else to cut between to add a bit more texture and colour to the piece. It just sort of helped bring things alive. And you know, if you didn't quite nail a question in the interview, then this just gives you another opportunity to ask that question again. Obviously, this technique should be used in balance with the other methods of storytelling, and it might not always suit the style of your film. You know, like if you're going for something punchy and atmospheric, maybe you only want interview audio and compelling B-roll action. But if you want your audience to really connect with your subject, then this is a really great way of pulling them into the world of the people you're filming. So I hope this tip can help you in your shoots in the future. If you use it, let me know how you get on in the comments down below, and until next time, see ya!